This video is an overview of our newly released Forged Enduro line. We'll cover what's different, why it matters, and why it's probably the best choice for your needs. We'll cover key features and we'll compare it against our Sprint line wheels plus a competitor's wheel, so you can really see why these wheels are changing the game. I'm Ryan March, Director of Operations here at Apex Wheels. This is my E46 M3 race car, already outfitted with a set of VS5 RE Enduro wheels. I'm excited to dig into the details of what makes these wheels so special. We launched the Forged Enduro line as part of our commitment to real performance. The wheel industry keeps pushing for lighter and lighter wheels, but if saving weight is the only priority, strength cannot be. We see strength compromise all the time in pursuit of lower advertised weights, and many cars end up being ill-equipped as a result. Because many applications need more strength, not less, the Forged Enduro line is optimized to prioritize strength and stiffness. That means we strategically add material to critical areas, and it does come with a little bit of a weight penalty. The end result is a much thicker spoke, a dramatically higher load rating, and an even beefier inner lip design. The wheels are significantly stronger and stiffer compared to the forged Sprint line versions of these designs, and even more so than most of the competitors. Adding the Enduro line to our catalog gives drivers the option to choose the best solution for their specific needs. That's what this is all about. At launch, we're releasing two new designs that may look very familiar to you. The new versions are called VS5 RE and SM10 RE. The E stands for Enduro. All right, so let's talk about who these wheels are actually for. The Enduro line is really meant to be the new de facto wheel choice for track day enthusiasts and racers alike. But here's the thing. The reality is that all types of drivers can really benefit from stronger and stiffer wheels. Let's get into the reasons why. Faster drivers put much more stress on wheels than intermediate and novice drivers do. And that stress is magnified through extra sticky tires and higher cornering Gs. If you add a splitter and a wing, that force is directly to get transferred to increased loads on the wheels, just as if the car got heavier. If that car is already heavy to start with, the loads can get really high really quick. Combine all those stresses together and you absolutely need a higher load rating wheel. Just as heavier vehicles and larger trucks need higher load rating tires to handle the increasing weight, motorsport applications also need wheel load ratings that get higher and higher progressively to keep up. So why should most enthusiasts first consider our stronger Enduro wheels as opposed to something lighter from the get-go? Well, think about it for a moment. How much faster is an intermediate driver at an HPD really going to be if they shed a little bit of weight? And what type of damage can they avoid long-term if they go with something stronger? Off-track incidents are a part of HPDs and races. It's an inevitable part of learning and improving man and machine. How many positions are racers giving up when they make contact with another car or go off track in mid-race? Are they actually finishing the race? And how much time are racers giving up on the clock when their wheels are flexing so much that it's changing their alignment significantly? The Enduro line trades a little extra weight for a lot more strength and stiffness. And for most people, that's going to be the better choice. To really appreciate what this Enduro wheel line is trying to solve, we first have to acknowledge a serious issue with forged wheels available in the marketplace today, as well as the industry as a whole. Most enthusiasts are under the false impression that strength needs are adequately being met by all forged wheels out there. Most racers and driving enthusiasts upgrade to forged wheels with the goal of increasing strength and reducing weight. But marketing has trained consumers to associate the word forged automatically with strength, and it goes unquestioned. Forged wheel pricing starts at double the cost of flow-formed or cast wheels, so it's reasonable for enthusiasts to want wheels that deliver on both of those promises. The problem is twofold. On one hand, there's little to no transparency regarding performance in our industry. Strength is totally measurable, and it can be communicated through numbers, yet we lack anything meaningful to compare the performance of wheels, besides weight. The question that you should be asking is how strong are they? Because forged is not a number. On the other hand, there is a growing wave of forged wheels that are flooding the marketplace that are under-engineered, over-promising, and under-delivering. Now, these wheels may be delivering low weights on a scale, but they're absolutely sacrificing strength. And you can't tell because strength, stiffness, and stress are all metrics that are hidden behind the curtain. And without this extremely important information, you could easily end up in a situation where you purchase a forged wheel that actually delivers less strength than a cast wheel. And yeah, sure, it's going to be light on paper, but is that really what you wanted to purchase? So let's jump into the comparison section of this video, focusing on the cold hard facts that help measure the true performance of a wheel. We'll look at one of our new VS5 RE Enduro wheels, a comparable VS5 RS from our Sprint line, and a very similar wheel design from a competitor. All three of these forged wheels are 18x9 ET46 in a 5x130 bolt pattern, which is a common front Porsche wheel fitment. As a footnote, the weight difference between the VS5 RE and SM10 RE are so close that it's within a rounding error. When it comes to stiffness, the VS5 RE is slightly stiffer, but only by about 2 to 3%. Because these are so similar, for the comparison portion of this video, we're really going to focus on the VS5 RS and VS5 RE. The important part is that you understand the difference between the two families of wheels that we offer, the Sprint family and the Enduro family, and how these two families stack up against the competitor's wheel. For this comparison, we laser scanned a competitor's wheel and reverse engineered it to create an accurate 3D model that we can put through the same exact advanced FEA analysis that we run on our own wheels during the development phase. This is the most apples to apples way of comparison for stress, strength, and stiffness. This is important because different companies have different FEA models, and they calculate stresses differently, and they have different safety margins. First, let's take a look at the weight of all three of these forged wheels. We've got the VS5 RS at 17.8 pounds. We have the VS5 RE from our Enduro line at 20.6 pounds. And we have the competitor's wheel weighing in at 18.5 pounds. As you can see, our Sprint line wheel is the lightest wheel on the table, and the Enduro wheel is naturally the heaviest of the three. If we were only comparing the competitor wheel to the new Enduro wheel, and you ignored load ratings, you might consider that the Enduro wheel is uncompetitively heavy, and that the lighter competitor wheel is superior. But now let's add in their advertised load ratings. The competitor wheel here is labeled at 690 kg, which converts to 1521 pounds. And the Sprint line wheel here is rated at 1650 pounds. And the Enduro wheel here is rated at 2100 pounds. Now, to most people, it would look like the Sprint line wheel and the competitor wheel are pretty similar. An extremely important note, though, is that this Porsche application, 18x9 ET46, calls for a 735 kg load rating by JWL standards, which is 1620 pounds, meaning despite being engraved with the JWL logo, signifying that it's compliant to the standard, the competitor wheel here actually does not meet the minimum load rating requirement that it claims to meet. Now, if we bring the computer simulated stresses into the picture, we can really start to see things that the public cannot see. We run lengthy series of simulations, and one of the final numbers we get is an average stress that's great at summing up strength. If we first compare our own two wheels under the same simulated conditions, the Enduro wheel experiences the lowest stress, as it's easily the strongest of the two. This Sprint line wheel's average stress is 40% higher. The Enduro wheel's higher load rating allows it to take on considerably more load before it reaches its stress limit, by which point the Sprint line wheel would have already failed. So now let's compare our Sprint line wheel to the competitor's wheel. Surprisingly, even though the advertised load rating is only about 8.5% lower than our Sprint line wheel, its average stress is about 27% higher. Since we use average stress to determine load ratings, if this was our own wheel, we'd instantly have to drop its load rating to under 1200 pounds to accurately match how the other wheels are rated. Considering this is grossly below minimum load called by the JWL for this specific Porsche application, we'd frankly never release it. Last, let's compare the stresses of our new Enduro wheel in comparison to the competitor. Our load rating is approximately 40% higher than their advertised load rating, and that's quite impressive in itself. However, that still doesn't show the true increase in strength between the two wheels. Because nothing is stopping a brand from incorrectly labeling a wheel with a load rating that's higher than accurate, it's tough to compare one wheel brand to the next. What's shocking is that when you look at an average simulated stress, the competitor's wheel experiences almost 90% more stress in comparison to our Enduro wheels. This significant delta in strength comes down to our superior engineering and FEA modeling that's been validated by third-party real-world testing, and the more accurate safety levels that we adhere to. This results in a product that is frankly in another category, that's nearly twice as strong when calculated using the same tests. Now let's add stiffness into the equation. We do this by modeling how the spokes bend under load, and how much that ultimately changes the angle of the wheel's barrel. That angle represents how much negative camber is lost due to the wheel's face flexing under a specified load. Wheels with low stiffness will flex more and lose more camber and feel less direct through the steering wheel as a direct result. In most performance applications, negative camber is dialed in to maximize grip through a corner and for reducing outer edge tire wear. Some companies will lead you to believe that simply being forged will make a wheel stiffer and flex less than a cast or flowform wheel, but that's far from the truth. First, a cast or flowform wheel uses A356 aluminum, which is inherently stiffer than 6061 T6 aluminum commonly used on forged wheels. Second, it's the execution of a design that matters much more than the material itself. Forged wheels with very shallow spokes are floppy. Adding depth significantly increases stiffness, but depth costs money because it uses a lot more aluminum in the blank, and some blanks are extremely limited because they're off-the-shelf street dies. It also takes up brake clearance, so you have to 3D laser scan a ton of vehicles and model brakes to use that space efficiently. It's exactly what we do here at Apex. Our sprint wheel is almost 35% stiffer than the competitor's wheel, while the Enduro wheel is almost 70% stiffer. These are staggering numbers that contribute to real performance, yet these stiffness metrics are not transparently conveyed by wheel brands to enthusiasts to take into consideration during the buying process. Here at Apex, we're trying to change that. Whether you are looking for our sprint line of wheels or our Enduro line, you can see the dramatic difference in spoke depth compared to the competition. It's undeniable. Translated to the real world, the stiffness difference is like losing a half a degree of negative camber, just because one wheel is a lot floppier than the other. Even an intermediate driver at a racetrack can feel the difference of losing a half a degree of negative camber, and you're definitely going to notice the additional outer edge tire wear. To wrap this section up, the VS5RE from our new Enduro line gives you over 80% more strength and almost 70% more stiffness with only about a 10% weight increase over the competition. What are you going to choose, and what's actually going to give you more performance in the real world? Remember, real performance is measurable and comparable. At Apex, we believe that enthusiasts like yourself should demand more data and transparency from the industry. Otherwise, the wheels you end up putting on your car are at risk of being purchased based on fashion and aesthetics. All right, so we've really gone deep in regards to the endurance line delivering on strength and stiffness and some of those major performance differences in comparison to the competition out there. I want to draw attention to some of the things that may not be super obvious and also call out some of the similarities that the endurance line is going to share with our existing sprint line. First thing is that these wheels are made 6061 T6 aluminum off a 10,000 ton press, and they're coming from our custom motorsport dies, like all of our forged wheels at Apex. We're really proud of that factor because it really is what sets the bar for how we can really take the handcuffs off and allow our engineers to make the best wheel possible. And that is really a difference maker when you look at a lot of other forged wheels in the marketplace that are using off-the-shelf dies. It really is kind of a constraint for them. So we talk a lot about lip design here at Apex. We put a lot of focus on that aspect of this wheel. It is that first line of defense against potholes and curbs, attacking the racetrack or your local streets, highways. If I make a quick comparison to our sprint line, the sprint line had about 30% more material than our outgoing traditional lip. That was a huge step forward, but when it comes to this Enduro wheel, we've actually added over 50% more material. That's over a pound of material in that location. And it's very strategically thought out by our team of engineers to ensure that it actually adds more performance resiliency in the real world. After adding a lot of material consciously to this wheel to beef it up, we also wanted to make sure that we were able to reduce unwanted weight material where necessary. We've done this in several ways. The first and most obvious is the side milling on the spokes. Now this is really something that is shared with the RS line, only adapted of course for the Enduro spokes because the spokes are a bit beefier, a bit larger. It's a dramatic, aggressive side milling approach that really does take a lot of material away that is unnecessary, You compare this to a lot of the competitors out there that are doing some sort of tracer, there is a pretty stark difference in terms of how much weight is actually being removed from ours versus theirs. We've also done something all new to this Enduro wheel, and that is some pocketing here in between the spokes on the front lip. That's also going to help take away some of that unnecessary material. Gives it kind of a nice, unique look as well. Next is going to be our unpainted barrel. If you take a look at a darker wheel like anthracite or satin black, it's really going to hit you in the face when you're unboxing these wheels. You'd be really surprised about how much weight that really can remove. It's a big, surface area, and that made a pretty significant difference. Last is going to be something that's going to stick out to you as well, and that is that these Enduro wheels do not accept a center cap. We eliminated the center cap support entirely. This is an all-out motorsport functional wheel, as we've talked about so much in this video, and that was another location where we decided to make a conscious effort. Two other features that are quite similar to the Sprint line. First thing, fantastic brake clearance here with the Endurance line. Brake clearance has always been so important here at Apex, whether you're running a carbon ceramic OEM kit or a massive aftermarket kit from Brembo, StopTech, AP, you name it. We're really going out of our way to 3D scan so many different brakes out there to ensure that our wheels will clear. After all, what good is a wheel if it doesn't clear your brakes? This last feature you're going to recognize from our Sprint line, and that is the unpainted knurling along the inside and outside of the barrel. This is instilled in the wheel to ensure that the tire is not slipping under heavy acceleration or heavy braking, more importantly. Now, it's important to note that this spot is unpainted for a functional reason. There's a lot of different iterations of knurling out in the marketplace today, some of them not so effective. When you paint this area, those grooves, those pockets naturally want to fill up with paint, and it makes it less effective. To wrap it up, as part of our commitment to real performance, we've released this new line of Enduro wheels to truly deliver on strength and stiffness at an attainable price point. The Enduro line's focus on strength is designed for drivers who know they stress wheels further, and they understand that every part of a car is a consumable item when they really push it to its limits. Its focus on increased stiffness is for drivers who appreciate how stiffer bushings and mounts on a car can translate to a more direct feel. At the end of the day, you can't design one wheel for all types of enthusiasts. We all enjoy our cars in different ways. If you want the lightest wheels possible, then the Sprint line is for you. And if you want more stiffness and durability and longevity, then the Enduro wheel is going to be a fantastic choice. If you're interested in learning more about the specifications, the different fitment and finish offerings that we have for you guys, then definitely check out the fitment tables on our website. All right, guys, that's it from me. I hope to catch you guys out at local racetracks soon. If you have any comments or questions, be sure to put those below. Like and subscribe. We really appreciate that. We look forward to bringing you some more technical videos. See you next time.